Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Brat Mode. This is your host, Singh, coming at you with another video on the series of Giant on motorcycles, where I, at 6'5", walk you guys around the ergonomics of a specific motorcycle and how it fits me to help you guys make a decision, an informed decision for your next motorcycle. So let's roll the intro and take a look at the bike we have today. All right, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at the KTM RC 390. This is the smallest sports bike KTM makes, a kind of an introduction to their sports bike lineup, but this bike is capable enough to keep an expert rider entertained on the track. So don't take this as a beginner bike only. Everybody can absolutely jump on this bike and have fun, but it is their smallest CC sports bike that they make here in the US market. I believe they also have a 125 or 150 that's sold in other markets, but we don't get that here. This is the smallest one. With that out of the way, let's talk about some of the dimensions of me so you guys can compare yourself sitting at home and how this might fit you. I'm 6'5". I wear shoe size 13. My inseam is 34. My sleeve length, when I go dress shirts shopping, I wear a size 36, 37. So that gives you some context on some of my dimensions. My hand, when I buy some gloves, usually I'll fit into an XL, but some of those European brands, I do have to size up to double XL, and I have longer fingers than usual. So that's where I usually struggle. So that gives you some context as to my dimensions, so you can compare yourself to me as you watch this video. So why don't we go ahead, jump in, and look at the KTM RC 390. Here's the bluff, the bottom line up front. If you can only stay here for a few minutes, this is your answer. This bike surprised me. Considering it's a smaller CC bike, the ergonomics are not as you would expect. I have ridden the CBR 300, the Ninja 400, as well as the CB 300 and other smaller CC motorcycles, and they all I tend to struggle with, but this is surprisingly comfortable and it fits me pretty well. All right, with that out of the way, we can start to dive into some of the details and really look at every aspect of the ergonomics on the RC390. Let's start with our leg position. As we're sitting on the bike, feet on the ground, we can easily reach the ground without any problems at all, and we have a pretty decent size knee angle here, so no issues reaching the ground as expected. Now, if we put our foot up on the rear set and look at this knee angle, it is not very uncomfortable. It is not uncomfortable as the Ninja 400 that I've reviewed in the past, and we're going to look at the Ninja 500 as well if they've changed that. But it is absolutely not as comfortable as the Ninja 400. And for a sports bike, it is relatively comfortable. It's not super aggressive. The ergonomics on this bike are not super aggressive, but I was comfortable enough that I could ride this bike no problem. The other usual suspect where we'll have issues when we put our feet on the foot pegs is our rear of our shoes. Sometimes they hit the passenger peg, sometimes they'll hit the exhaust. None of that issue here. This bike does a great job of giving us enough room to clear our large size 13 shoe, but if you were a little bit larger than that, I can absolutely see being an issue, but anything smaller than size 13, you will be perfectly fine. Now, when we go into the racing tuck position, again, this is still a small bike. You guys have to remember that there is some overlap between your arms and your knees. Ideally, you want some more room than what we have here. But that's okay. It's not that bad. Again, if you go back and watch my Ninja 400 video, you'll see that this cockpit is a lot roomier than the Kawasaki Ninja 400. So absolutely, it's not ideal, but we can make do at 6'5" and plus. We always have to compromise, and I'll take the compromise here than in other places. All right, so let's move on to the arms and the reach to the clip-ons. The clip-ons are set a little bit lower than some of the other entry-level sports bikes from Japanese manufacturers, but It's not super uncomfortable. It's not super low, and the reach isn't aggressively far as something like an R6. That is extreme. This is somewhat of a good happy medium and no issues at all. I could sit here all day. You're not sitting completely upright, but you're not completely leant over as well. So you can see the angle here and judge for yourself, but no issues for me. In terms of the fingers and reaching to the controls, the brake and the clutch lever, both sides are adjustable, which is awesome. This gives us the flexibility to get just the right angle that we want to be able to reach comfortably on both the clutch and the brake. Talking about brake, the rear brake pedal is also adjustable, so you are able to move it up or down to your preference. The same thing with the gear shifter, that is also adjustable, so you can make that change for your own ergonomics and your preferences. The rear sets, however, are not adjustable, so if you did want that flexibility to move things around, you will have to go to aftermarket and purchase that. But there are plenty available for this bike. As I mentioned, people race these things on the regular, so there's plenty of parts available. All right, so with that out of the way, now quickly to summarize the overall riding position and the ergonomics and what I personally would change if I was to purchase this motorcycle, I would give it 7 out of 10. Again, these scores are relative. The Kawasaki, for example, the CBR, and other motorcycles in this category, that's what we're comparing it to. We're not going to compare this to an R6, for example. So relatively speaking, compared to the other bikes in this category, I am giving it a 7 out of 10. Overall, a very good score, a very comfortable bike. I would absolutely purchase it and maybe make some modifications to make it a little bit more comfortable. I would absolutely try to get my hands on maybe some adjustable rear sets just to open up the leg rooms a little bit more and also get some clip-ons where I can maybe straighten them out a little bit so that way it gives me more room. It's going to increase the reach, it's going to increase our angle of the back to go further lean forward, but I think in the long run it would make it a little bit more comfortable and make me fit on the bike a little bit better in the tuck position. Well, that's about it. That's all I had to discuss on this bike. You guys saw how it fits me. Hopefully, I provided you with enough information to make an educated decision for yourself if this bike will work for you or not. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. I always appreciate your time for checking out my channel. If you found this information helpful, please hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys on the next one.